There are two types of coaching clients that usually come to me when they're in a crisis. Those two types are, one, the person who is just desperate to change their relationship by changing the partner, which never ever works, by the way, or the person who is desperate to change the relationship and extremely self-aware, self-reflective, and ready to do all of their work to change the relationship. Leslie Wells, Connection Coach here. I help individuals heal, thrive, improve, repair, and connect more deeply in their romantic relationships by looking at things through an attachment lens and understanding their and their partner's attachment styles. So the only thing we can control in relationships and changing the negative dynamics in our relationships is ourselves, right? That's the only thing we have actual control over. Other people have autonomy over themselves and we can never change them. And if we try to, that comes across as control, and usually we create distance when what we really want is to close the distance. The problem becomes, and this happens for a lot of people who are anxiously attached, is that you cannot get safety, but to a certain degree, if you stay in a relationship with somebody who remains unsafe. So one of the most important things to get real secure safety is not to get it from the relationship, which is a lot of times what anxiously attached people tend to do, is get their safety with the connection in the relationship. And when that connection is severed or there's a rupture, they've lost all capability to regulate in themselves and to self-regulate to actually continue or refine that safety and reestablish it. So the first step is to be able to establish safety within your own body. But that only works for so long if you continue to stay in an unsafe relationship. If you have fought to get secure attachment, or you are on your way to fighting to get secure attachment, but the person that you are with gaslights, stonewalls, creates distance without coming back to resolve issues, if they are somebody who is extremely overreactive, if they are controlling, if they use harsh, unkind words all the time, if you're in a situation where you're unable to show up authentically and vulnerably and express your needs, wants, and desires and actually have them validated, if there is not trust in your relationship, if your partner does not show up in predictable, consistent ways and you cannot count on them, or their actions and their words continuously don't align, and I don't mean like in small ways where human beings are like, was going to be here at this time but got caught in traffic and now I'm not. But if those things continue to exist in your relationship, you're not going to be able to find safety. And not only will your nervous system really respond to this lack of safety, but you will end up with health issues, chronic aches and pains. You will end up with migraines, potentially digestive issues. Your nervous system will be a wreck as much as you are fighting to reestablish safety and maintain it in your own body. So no matter how much work you do, no matter whether you get enough sleep, you eat right, you do grounding, you do nervous system exercises, you're making sure you're working with a coach or a therapist, you're drinking enough water, you're getting enough sunlight, if you were doing all of the things to be healthy, yet your most intimate, close relationships with people that matter the most to you and the people that you are most dependent on for all of your needs, if that remains unsafe and that person is unsafe, you're going to be stuck. And you're going to either have to put boundaries in place or start thinking of like really, really firm boundaries until that relationship dynamic changes and that person changes. And a lot of times people who are really anxiously attached struggle to see the difference between I'm feeling unsafe in my body because of my attachment, or this person and this situation is truly unsafe. And that is a big problem for the fearful avoidant. The fearful avoidant has spent so much time not feeling safe in their own body and projecting that outward onto people in relationships who actually are safe, that they really have to challenge that and figure out if that's their own projection and their own inner beliefs and their inner narrative and their own tendency to catastrophize and jump to worst case scenario and assume the worst and assign malicious intent to their partner, or if there is something truly unsafe in the relationship. So it's kind of a catch-22. In order to really challenge that narrative and really figure out if it is my attachment that is causing me to be unsafe, if I am creating some of my suffering versus the relationship, I first have to establish safety in my own body. But that makes it really difficult to do if you are in a truly unsafe situation. So one of the things that you have to do first is actually really earn your secure attachment and really, really, really learn to find your own safety in your own body so that you can then get some clarity to see if the relationship is unsafe. And if at that point you've earned secure attachment and you have the ability and the capacity to actually be safe in your own body, and you're still feeling that way and there's still things that when you break them down and look at them and challenge them that are unsafe, you're gonna have to make some really hard boundaries because you will probably not stay securely attached if you stay in that relationship.